experiment with more sounds and stuff.
I know what you mean.
Because I had that out for people to hear.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I think like just like in that discussion too, because I know like with that narrative of certain artists like dropping projects like that, like in the very beginning, most people would maybe label them as like, you know, cringy or just like overrated, that type of stuff too, or they would say it's a gimmick. Do you feel like you would overshadow that in a way too, and you feel like that's something that you don't want to be like labeled as, or like just like, even with the sense of creativity with your new music versus your old music, do you feel like you tend to like overshadow that?
You think sorry, you're asking like if I overshadow the look of the just old school, like boring kind of music with my newer music, you're saying? Or
I mean, like just like with...
Or do you think having that out like helps me...
Like, I think like when you, like let's say you want to do something that's like outside of the box too, do you want like listeners to like view and listen that, hey, you know, I have more creative like styles than just like that whole like old school like hip hop type styles?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, honestly, I want to explore now with like lots of different types of music, like even outside of hip hop. I'd love to explore, you know, like rock styles of music and alternative sounds, stuff like that. Like Dominic Fike, I think I don't know if he's a member of Brockhampton or if he's, I don't know, he definitely works with Kevin and stuff, so he's another artist that I definitely really like. So again, like, yeah, all that alternative stuff I'd love to get with now, and that's something that making music has opened my eyes to, because like I said, I used to just be all about, you know, lyrics, old school music, and like that was it. But then I kind of realized like, yo, like boom bap music is not necessarily gonna let you make it these days, or let you I don't know, you got to expand your audience, right? You want to have everyone listening to you, so.
Yeah, no doubt. And, you know, I actually did like the Balance project too, as well as the new music as well. And you kind of notice like an evolving change too. And it's something that I really did enjoy like when seeing it, because some people, when they hear Balance, they're going to say like, he's just, you know, like another artist that makes the similar type of music. But when you hear like songs like Changes and like all the other songs too, like, hey, you know, he's consistent with what he's doing as well either way, and that's something that I really did notice and kind of like enjoy so far, you know.
Yeah, no, that's sweet. I appreciate that, because that's actually something that I kind of pride myself in, is I feel like when you listen to my earlier bodies of music to now, it's not even necessarily that they've improved, but it's just like changed a lot, right? It's different sounds, and like I try to again explore different stuff. So yeah, no.
That same year too, I think you were involved in being a part of the Yung Tory show in Newmarket, I think. Did you manage to perform at that show or take part in some way? And how did that like thing happen? And like, what was the experience like? You know, just
So my team actually set up that whole show. It was like a fellow artist, like my boy though, his manager met Yung Tory's manager. So I don't know like if the viewers all know, but Yung Tory's from Toronto, I'm from Newmarket, and sort of like the pitch was, you know, we're over in the north end and you guys are in the city, and most of the Toronto artists will, you know, maybe go east, west, but they don't necessarily go out north. They don't really think to do that, but there are a lot of like towns and cities and kids in, you know, the high schools and that are listening to all these artists in Toronto because they're just in the GTA and they're just around there. So we kind of were like, yo, come out here and like let's play a show and let's see how it goes, because we think you have an audience out here. And so yeah, Yung Tory and them came out. There was a couple of like his, you know, friends and stuff opened as well. I opened, and yeah, it was sweet. We sold it out, so it was successful, and yeah, it was a good show. It was one of the biggest shows I played, and it's cool to be able to say that, like, you know, I was able to open for an artist who's kind of out here doing his thing from the city. I think he's like out in LA now and stuff, so that's sweet.
Will you like ever manage to like work with like Yung Tory in the future, or like any like one of his affiliates, like, you know, with Kevin Rowley being like a multi like talented producer like now in Toronto and everyone else? Would you manage to work with like either one too?
Yeah, shout out Rolly, yo. Actually, so the Change video, shot by Marcus Letts, and shout out Marcus, my guy. The whole reason I found Marcus and was able to shoot with Marcus was because of Yung Tory, because he shot a whole bunch of videos for Tory, and they were like boys growing up and stuff, I think, or maybe not Marcus and Tory, but I do know Marcus and Kevin Rowley are close. So yeah, that was kind of cool, because that definitely came from them, and I would definitely work with, you know, Kevin Rowley's dope producer for sure. Like, I would be down to work with them. And one of my artists that I work with, one of my boys, Sway, also has a track out with Yung Tory now that came out this year, so that came from there too. So we have had like, you know, one of our artists work with Tory now this year too. So
True,
yeah,
true.
OG by Sway Streamer.
I feel you. And you know, recently, I think this was last year, I think, or this year. I think last year, Change, like not knowing that it was gonna be like so high, it reached over almost 100,000 streams on Spotify and over 10K on YouTube. Tell me more about that song, like, and how it changed like everything for you in a way, as well. Like, what was the creative process and the impact entirely from that song?
Yeah, honestly, creatively is where most of the change came from with that song. It's kind of funny that it's called Change too, but yeah, it like in the studio creatively, it just came from my engineer, my producer Kai, who I'm actually coming out with a project with. I think we'll talk about that. But yeah, I work with him really closely, and we've worked together pretty much from the start. And he engineers and mixes all my music and stuff. And he really pushes me to like explore stuff with my sound and